And I just want to thank everybody for being here, especially Jose and his team, Daniel Alfonso, Lizette Huapa, Evelyn Pack, Ignacio Sotero. You guys have done an amazing job, so much behind the scenes, the website, the flyer, and this is a massive undertaking. And I find it kind of equivalent to getting a new car. Like everyone knows how to use a learning management system, but now it's like you have to figure out where the windshield wipers are and all the other gadgets. So I will stop talking now and thank you all. Bye-bye.
I'm Evan. I'm with CUNY's Office of Academic Affairs, and I'm the LMS transition lead for our transition from Blackboard to Brightspace. Your provost, Pamela Brown, and Jose invited us to join you for the Citytech kickoff of this transition. And so what you're looking at here is just a slide that introduces the team. You might see some familiar names on this. We're working not only to facilitate transition for the university, but we're working very closely with each college and especially Citytech in a partnership model to ensure that you're prepared and ready to use Brightspace to deliver instruction and having students enrolled this summer. So from our side on CUNY, you'll see individuals involved. Some of you may recognize, especially Nathalie, who's with us today, who was a member of your team, I understand. And I know you're familiar with the individuals from Citytech, and we also have our colleagues from D2L who are joining us today, who are going to give you an overview and introduction to Brightspace.
And so from our team, as you can see from this list here, I'm Jose Diaz, Director of Academic Technologies and Online Learning, formerly known as iTEC. So today we will be announcing our new name. Joining me is Razul Hoke, he's assistant to the director, and also Shelley Smith, professor and co-director of the Faculty Commons. Change slides. Yeah.
Our aim today is Jose is going to start with some introductory slides about the transition at Citytech, and then we'll join in after with an overview of the project, including the timeline. We'll talk a bit about some of the key features, such as course migration, and then we'll take a look at Brightspace itself. Jose?
Sure. Thanks, Evan. And I really want to take the opportunity to thank Evans and Nathalie and the whole CUNY team in particular for their support. You know, they have to take on 25 colleges. So I just really want to give kudos to the CUNY transition team for all the hard work that they have done and supporting us. So the first slide I want to talk about is just basically our name change. As you all know, we were known as iTEC, and we have changed our name to Academic Technologies and Online Learning, AtoL. And our email has also changed. So if you're looking to reach or communicate with us, you can see our email is AtoL, the TO, at citytech.cuny.edu. So that's AtoL at citytech.cuny.edu. Our website is, we're revamping our website as well, including our new name, our logo, and we have our Brightspace transition page for faculty and students. So what I really wanted to talk about today is how are we going to support the faculty and students here at Citytech. Evan's team is going to give a little demo of Brightspace itself. So I just wanted to start off with how are we going to support you? And if you haven't seen or visited the CUNY Transition website, they are supporting heavily right now the faculty at CUNY. So if you visit our website or the CUNY Transition website, you'll see the many workshops that CUNY is currently running, and I'm sure Evan will talk more about it later. But the first thing I do want to mention is the Brightspace support hotline. There's 24/7 by all year round Brightspace hotline. The phone numbers are there, and I've tested them out. They're very quick to answer, so that's one line of support. We're also going to offer one-on-one support with for faculty and students. The link I have provided here is just a direct line to me for one-on-one support. But we also, we have a team of 6. So if you're looking for technical support that cannot be answered over the phone, you can also either walk into our office, either in Voorhees 217 or G600, or you could book one of us for a one-on-one support, virtual support. We are also offering a Brightspace Basics course for faculty. And the registration link is on this slide that we will share with you all later, but you can also find the registration link on our website. So this is going to be a cohort-based course for you to take on your own leisure, and basically it covers the basics from setting up the gradebook, authoring content on Brightspace, and etc. We will also be offering a online faculty course certification, which for those faculty members who are interested in teaching online, this is a separate course for you, and you can get certified. That course is not yet available, but it will become available soon, and we will reach out to all those faculty who are interested in teaching online. Again, please visit our website for latest news, updates, and for our workshop lineup. So how are we going to support students? Again, that the same hotline that we have provided, 24/7 support, is provided there, that will be communicated to your students as well. We are also putting together a Brightspace Basics course for students. So this course will be available to all students who are registered at Citytech, and students will be able to access the course directly on Brightspace. And it also will become a resource for them. We will also support support students through our one-on-one support system. And again, we have a separate page on our website directed to students with resources, news and updates, and workshop schedules for them. We also have provided a detailed student manual for our students that can be downloaded directly from our website. Now I'm going to turn it over to Razul, who is a member of our AtoL team, and he's going to talk a little bit about our Citytech course landing page on Brightspace. And once we're done, Razul, we will turn it over to Shelly from Faculty Commons. Razul, you want to take over from here?
Sure. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Razul Haq. I'm Blackboard admin. I'm going to quickly show you how our Citytech landing page look like. You may have seen it, the default page, but we are customizing it to better serve you. So let me share my screen. Give me 1 second, please.
And as Razul is setting up, I also want to mention that at the end of the kickoff, we're going to ask you to do a quick survey, 3 questions, and please, feel free to complete that for us.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So basically, you see when you log on to the Brightspace, you may see this space, but we are customizing this space a little bit to better serve you. Once we already customized that, Graphene just has to push it. So the landing page that, college navbar would look like this. Do you see that? Quick nav, quick eval, discover, Brightspace, help. And this has a drop down, 3 drop down, 24/7 support, Brightspace community. That's our website. And we customizes this Brightspace drop down. You have some link here. So this would be the only difference between the, default versus our. And when you are in this page, you will see Brightspace support the same drop down here on the right-hand side, and you may see an activity feed. The default, you may not see it. All right, so once you are inside this, if you click on any course, it would take us to the course homepage. And the default may look a little different, but this is the way we are going to customize. You will have a course admin, content, assignment, discussion, so on and so forth. And you will have a course tools, and you have more option here. So that's the only difference between the default and customized course navbar. Pretty much that's all I wanted to show, because sometimes you may see different, especially when you are teaching in multiple colleges, more than one colleges, you may see different. You may see this page. Do you still see my page? This is the CUNY page. If you're teaching in multiple, more than one course, you may see this page. But that's all I wanted to show the Brightspace interface.
Hey, hello all. I also will be very brief. I'm Shelley Smith, co-director of Faculty Commons along with Marianne Beal. At our college, we have something of a division between instructional technology and pedagogy and so forth, although both of our units deal with both of those things. And Faculty Commons does a lot of other things as well. So mostly this is in the bailiwick of Jose Diaz and AtoL. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about Brightspace. It's a more attractive and, as far as I have seen so far, a more intuitive and flexible system. So I'm looking forward to the transition. I know it's always a challenge, but we've got a great team behind us, and it has been a huge amount of work, both on the part of the CUNY team and also here at Citytech. So, you know, everyone have patience, but I think it's going to be well worthwhile in the end. So thank you so much, team, for supporting us.
Thank you, Shelley. I'm going to share the slides one more time so we can bring back Evan and his team.
Great, thanks so much. So again, I'm Evan, and I'm the LMS transition lead. I want to thank you to Provost Brown and Jose again for the opportunity to join you. I know you're eager to see Brightspace, and I think the preview that Razul provided is actually an excellent example of one of the really key features of this transition, is that with Brightspace, you have the opportunity to customize the environment to look and feel like your college. And I'm jumping ahead and sharing that with you, but it's so meaningful because as we surveyed the community on the opportunity to make that customizable, what we heard over and over again was how much your students identify with the college as opposed to CUNY, the system. And so being able to give them that identity when they log into the LMS and create a stronger sense of community and affiliation is a very rewarding opportunity. And to see it in this example that was just shown is just really, it's a really nice moment, I think, for us in this team. And I wanted to start just by not assuming that we all have the same view of the LMS, but the learning management system really is a fundamental tool to the university. It serves many purposes, and for the purposes of our conversation today, it is a primary vehicle for teaching and learning and engaging our students. It is a way for students to connect with students, for students to connect with the faculty, you, who are the primary, with whom they identify most as a representation of the Citytech, and with the college itself. And so the LMS has such tremendous value for what we do here at the university. And, you know, this question has come up as to why we're moving from Blackboard. We've been with Blackboard as a system for 20 years, I believe. And there was a there was a evaluation period which precedes our involvement in this project, and a systems assessment to evaluate an alternate or replacement LMS. Brightspace was chosen to be the LMS that best meets our needs. And really, in terms of higher education, it is one of the best learning management systems that exist. So this decision to move from Blackboard to Brightspace really was based on this assessment that was a requirement of the university system as a state entity. And so it led us to the selection of Brightspace because of the many features and benefits and strengths that it offers. And so our vision for this transition that I want to share with you is to enhance your expertise so that we can optimize student learning outcomes. And what I've learned that Jose and his team are doing to support your learning of Brightspace and your students' learning of Brightspace, I think really leans in this direction, is in helping you to become the best that you can be with this new learning management system towards the benefit of our students. You know, and we're really moving to a modern learning management system that, to me, is what our students are most familiar with. It is a user experience, if you will, that is more common these days in a very internet-based environment. And it gives us the ability to take advantage of new features that Brightspace has that allow us to create different types of engaging learning experiences that helps us contribute to the student success and understand their learning journey better. It supports the growth in online learning. It really stands behind all types of modalities of instruction, and helps to substantiate those. And again, it helps to create a connection with students with faculty, and students with Citytech. You know, Brightspace as a LMS is a really, a lot of strengths. This is just a small list of those strengths. One that Jose highlighted earlier is this addition of 24/7, 365 support for anyone at CUNY. This is really it's meant to be supplemental to AtoL and others at your college who are going to be supporting you on a day-to-day basis, but it's really remarkable because at any time a student needs help navigating and learning to use the LMS, or you need help learning how to configure a setting or modify a gradebook or assignment, it is accessible to you in many ways, including a very robust community and a built-in AI tool that you can use in a chatbot type feature. So a few of the things that we've started to see as real highlights and when we talk about creating engaging content are listed on the screen, which you'll learn more about in the weeks and the months ahead. Some of these, such as HTML templates, really allow you to create a very well-structured piece of course content that has a web page look and feel that makes it easy for students to navigate. It's a really good way to organize content. Intelligent agents that allow you to automate aspects of engagement. You can get notified when students have not completed assignments or when students have achieved a certain mark on assignments, and it gives you the ability to streamline some of the work that you do in managing the course. And then there are others which we're exploring and we'll look to be implementing down the road, such as learning object repository or portfolio tools. Just to level set where we are, you're in this second transition group where this is your official kickoff for the college with us here to provide you an overview of Brightspace. And over the months ahead, we'll be preparing and learning how to use it so that in the summer semester, your students will be enrolled in courses in Brightspace and using Brightspace as the primary LMS. Underneath that, we're migrating about 4 years worth of courses into Brightspace so that you have courses to work with and begin modifying that you can prepare to teach. This is just a micro view, if you will, of your transition group's timeline. And it's really here just to show you some of the key activities. And I'm going to continue because this is just to show you at a very micro level some of the key things that we're doing with your college to help you prepare, like working with your LMS administrators, training them, working with your college support units and training them. And we're delivering instructor training. We have over 50 sessions scheduled this semester. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So I'm going to hand it over to Nathalie, who is our Director of Change Management, who's going to speak a bit about our training strategy and some of the training that's available now from CUNY, which you can certainly take advantage of. So Nathalie.
Yes, thank you. And thank you guys. Thank you for inviting me back to Citytech. I miss the college, I miss the campus, and I miss all of you a great deal. Shelley, I'm looking right at you and smiling. I wish that we saw each other more frequently. But let me say that the training strategy, so this is an overview from the start of the transition. The first thing that we did was train the super administrators who will oversee or configure the LMS Brightspace so that it is optimized for your college and for all CUNY students. The second stage was to prepare the support units that will be helping instructors and students as they engage in Brightspace. So that's that second set, the blue and the red arrow. We did a train-the-trainer series. It was an intense, 12-hour sessions where the trainers got into Brightspace and really took a deep dive into all the features. We were also training the college administrators. So Rasul on this call, I'm trying to, the AtoL, I want to say iTEC, the AtoL team, sorry, old habits die hard, on how the Brightspace system works, how the LMS works for an administrator. Then we launched a first look at Brightspace, and this was just really to give people a peek at Brightspace. Take a look at it. It looks different than Blackboard and give them a chance to just wander through while we were still setting up the LMS and configuring it for everyone to enter. We had some early adopters during this time who got access to Brightspace, and they were able to tinker around and play in it. And their feedback and a lot of their questions helped inform, the trainings, our FAQs. We're now launching into instructor training, and we are training the instructors first, because you're expected to not only build courses, work with the migrated courses, but we know that you're the first line. Students are going to come to you first with questions, and you're going to have to direct them on how to be in Brightspace. And then the last wave is the student training. So they won't have access to Brightspace until later this spring. And we're putting together mostly asynchronous resources for students, resources that you can put in your courses if you need to, or point to. The IT help desk can point to, AtoL can point students to. And so it creates a little something that's portable, and the resources for students to access what they need. Let me back up. What I meant to say in instructor training, which is, CUNY is running, the change management group is running webinars. These are live webinars. There's a basic 4 series, and it follows the teaching practice or some of the tasks that we do as instructors. So building content in the LMS, how to put together your course, how to work with a migrated course so that you can organize it so it works best in Brightspace, engaging learners, assessing learning, and I'm forgetting one. Yes, no, that's 4. And then a deep dive in gradebook and a deep dive in quizzes, because those 2 components can be configured or can be set up with a lot of complexity. And so, for those faculty who use quizzes, we can do a soup to nuts on quizzes. And with gradebook, if you have not just a point straight across gradebook, but you have weighted or different categories, bonus points, etc., that you can set up your gradebook to reflect that grading for those assessments. So that's just a quick overview. I will say in the training, we're running our first round. We're now in engaging learners. Next week, we will start with assessing learning. We'll do the quiz book, the grade book, and then we'll repeat. Towards the end of the semester, we will do a quick on-ramp. And this is mostly because we think you have more time. I don't know what that means, but you'll want to do a quick on-ramp to Brightspace. So instead of having 1 week where it's all one type of workshop, it'll be all 6 of those workshops in quick succession. So you could do a very quick study and become expert. You're welcome to register for as many of these workshops. You're welcome to take them more than once. Repetition is the mother of learning. And so this is designed not to limit anyone, but to provide that type of training on, an as needed basis. This is to complement the training that you may receive at the college. And so we'll hit it at this level and try to create also resources for you, but it gives your college a chance to set up their own training and also to customize that training to best meet your college's, your instructors, your students' needs. Did I cover that well enough, Evan? Anything I left off?
No, it's thank you, Natalie. And we'll just go naturally to course migration next. We're focusing on course migration because we know this is one of the most important pieces of the transition. We are migrating through D2L, with D2L through an automated process up to 525,000 courses. That equates to about 4 years at this point in time. And we'll be moving course content, not student data, from Blackboard to Brightspace. While I say this, I want you to know that you can always manually export and import courses as well, so as a parallel process if needed. And so this is, as you access Brightspace, which all of you have the ability to log in, you will see some of these migrated courses, and they'll continue to appear over the duration of the transition. We can look at the timeline. We've migrated over 65,000 courses to date. This is a schedule of those we've completed and those that are coming up for completion. And this is just to give you a sense of what to expect and when to expect courses to be migrated. Your course shells, which are separate, will be brought over in accordance with the typical schedule that we can share. So your course shells will be brought over for this summer in April, so you can begin preparing those. We've created a guide that's on our website called Working with Migrated Courses, which gives you an overview of what to expect with a migrated course and some of the key steps, a checklist, if you will, of things to do and look for with that migrated course. Really what it boils down to is just reviewing the course for content organization, just ensuring links and resources, links to various resources and more are still in good shape, and configuring your gradebook. I'm going to just pause here because Nathalie, I want to ask if there's other context you want to add.
What I was going to say is that, the migration worked for the majority of courses, and that the two environments are a little bit different. So what worked really well in Brightspace and was an amazing course in Brightspace, really well in Blackboard, might need some zhuzhing when it gets to Brightspace, but all the content is there. And, Brightspace is a brand new LMS, and there's so many features, so many opportunities to really optimize that content. And I want to encourage people to take a look at their courses and, when possible, look at opportunities to make that content really shine in Brightspace.
Thanks, Nathalie. And, and the aim of the course migration is to move the courses so you don't need to, and to have a starting point for you to work with. And to Nathalie's point, as the, content matter expert and the person most familiar with your course, it's to your benefit to just take a look and see if anything needs to be changed. But there's, one of the themes of our presentation is the features and the benefits and the advantages of Brightspace. So we encourage you to also consider those as you review the migrated course. I mentioned before that you all have access to Brightspace. We've implemented a widget, which is create a new course widget. On the left, you can use that, and we encourage you to use that to create a practice site. This is a fully functional course that you can use to learn and explore the features of Brightspace, and anything you do in that course can be moved to another course and used for a course you intend to teach with. So it is something that we put in place because we understood there was a need to try things out and have an easy way to set something up. And so we've set this widget up for you that you all have access to and can use. And then on the right is something called the Brightspace Resource Course, which is a self-guided set of training materials that is a collection from the D2L community that you can use and access. And I understand that your team, Jose and AtoL, will be creating something similar that's perhaps focused for your college. And so this is meant to be complementary and available to you if needed. We heard earlier about, this is just another screenshot of what it looks like to create a practice site. So we'll just keep going. This is the URL for Brightspace in case you hadn't yet logged in and you log in using your CUNY First credentials. So brightspace.cuny.edu. And you heard earlier about how to get support for Brightspace. So there are multiple ways to get help. This is what is available from Brightspace. I mentioned the Brightspace guided training, which is part of this D2L community. If you go to that community, you'll be asked to create an account, but you'll have access as a member of CUNY. And there are a host of guides and resources that you can consume. You can also chat with people in the community and ask questions. Within Brightspace, there is this AI chatbot that you can ask a quick question of, and it will search an existing knowledge base to feed you an answer. But also there's live chat, email, and phone support, which Jose highlighted earlier, that are 24/7, 365. And with that, we conclude our presentation of the project, but I want to hand it over to my colleague, Chris from D2L, who's going to take you on an overview of Brightspace to give you a tour of what to expect. And feel free to put questions in the chat or in the Q&A. We're happy to answer those.
Thank you, Evan. Yep, thanks everyone. My name is Chris Stucker. I work for D2L. I am an implementation strategist for quite a while, building out Brightspace to accommodate all the different use cases that all the colleges have. So we work hand in hand together, and we're making Brightspace the best it can be for you. My background, I've been in online education for 20 some years, been in admin, faculty, instructional designer, anything that's related to online education, I've been there. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to walk you through Brightspace from different points of view. So what I'm going to do first is show you what I'm going to cover. I'm also going to post it in the chat in a second to kind of show you what to expect. We might not get to everything today. It depends on how much time we have and how many questions we get. But what I want to do is group this into 3 different sets of information, we'll say. We're going to look at the Brightspace environment as a whole, and things you need to know. I'm going to then look at it in an instructor view, what the instructors will expect from faculty. I'm sure many of you teach courses. And then kind of what is the day in the life of a learner or student. So these are the 3 main areas I want to cover. As I get through each 3 subsets of information, I'll pause and take questions on that section, but I'll try to get through all the information of that section and then come back if I need to answer questions. So no need to take a screenshot. I'm going to post this in the chat right now. And hopefully the formatting comes over. I was fighting Zoom with the formatting, so I think it looks the same, but you can find the agenda in the chat now. So let's get started. So I'm going to log in first as an instructor and kind of show you the environment of Brightspace. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is when you want to access Brightspace, you're going to go to the URL, which is brightspace.cuny.edu. If you're already logged in through your network, you're going to pass straight into Brightspace. You don't need to do anything else. You're not going to see that screen that says log in, none of that stuff. You're going to go straight into Brightspace. But if you're not logged into your network, then it's going to prompt you with that nice little CUNY pop-up that says, what is your username and password? And then you sign in. And when you log in, you're going to land at your college that you belong to. So I know many of you or some of you might be in multiple colleges. So I'll just say if you have just the one city college course you're teaching or 5 courses, whatever it is, when you log in, you're going to land at City College. For this demonstration, I'm landing at a demonstration college. So just imagine that this is your college. And then from there, the students or instructors, whoever it is, will be able to find all the courses that they are taking. In addition, that you may find customized information that you'll come across that's for the college. So as we break down what you see, let's go ahead and start with the first main topic in the layout is what we call the mini bar. The very top is kind of like your access point for all of Brightspace. You can do things such as go back to your college, or you can search for different courses, and this person's in 2 different courses. I can do things such as access my email, which we'll talk about a bit later on. I can get subscription alerts for like discussions and things like that. Like someone mentioned me or wrote me a discussion posting, whatever it may be. I can get updates about a variety of topics throughout the platform. For example, if I click this, I'll see that there are 3 announcements that I haven't read and someone created a content item. So things that relate to me and I want to be notified, there's an alert here. And as I go from left to right, when I click on myself, ignore the impersonating piece. But you're going to see information about yourself, your profile. I'll come back to this in a second. You can change your account settings if you need to. I know for me, sometimes I want to make my screen a little bit bigger. So I can change like font size and things like that in here and change how I look at my courses, what's the first day of the week, all kinds of stuff that relates to me for account settings. I can also change default behavior of how discussions work throughout the platform for me, the user, or email, things like that. So all this is done on top of the mini bar. But the one I do want to call out specifically here are these notifications. Notifications are ways that your students will love using Brightspace. Notifications, think about your smartphone. iOS or Android devices, do you want to get notified when something happens, right? CUNY is going to set up the default notifications so that certain things happen, but students can always override the choices, right? For example, there's an assignment that's 2 days away. They may get an email reminding them, hey, you have an assignment coming up, you better do it. So there's a variety of different notifications that can be set up. You can exclude courses, things like that. So it's really customized by user. There's also a summary of activity. Maybe they're gonna get a weekly email that gives us a summary of what happened in the course for that week and things like that. And you'll notice that at the very top, there's also a Pulse application. So if you go to the App Store, the Apple Store, or the Google Play Store, you can download the Pulse app, and this will keep the students up to date on grades and things that are coming up for them to submit, like assignments and things like that. And it will, if they access the Pulse app and they click on something, it will send them straight into Brightspace as well. So there's the online PC or desktop version of Brightspace and Pulse are all connected, and technically someone could do lots of work from their phones. We don't recommend it because it's a phone. They could. So iPads and other devices like that can work with Brightspace. So this is called a mini bar up here. Now I'm going to go back to the college level and look at the other key areas of Brightspace. And again, I'm not looking at the chat, so Nathalie, keep me honest if I miss something really important. Otherwise, I'll come back and tackle it. So we had the mini bar at the top. Then right below that, we had the blue little bar. And again, this will look just like your college, your colors, your logos, and all this stuff. So this is a fake environment, fake college, but you'll have the navigation bar. And technically there are 2 navigation bars that you're going to encounter. One that's college specific, so it's just college information. And then you'll have a course specific navigation bar. And they do differ, and I'll show you the differences in a second. Just as you have 2 navigation bars, you're gonna have 2 sets of home pages. You're gonna have one that's college specific, kind of broad across all courses homepage, which are these little white boxes. And then you'll have a course specific homepage that's more specific to what you're gonna do in the course. So when you think about navigation bars, home pages, you have 2 sets of them. One's kind of generic, and the other one's focused on activities that you do in a course. So if you're following along in the agenda, the next thing we'll look at is the course selector. That's this thing up here that lets you go to courses that you like or want to go to. Sometimes you'll use this. It's really up to you how you get to your course. Sometimes you want to use the My Courses widget. This is very simple right now, but this widget will maybe show like different terms or departments, depends on how the college sets it up. But they'll be organized in different ways. I only have 2 courses. There's 1, 2. I can click on either one, go into it. There's different searching options. Maybe over time, you might teach hundreds of courses over the years, I guess. There's ways of sorting and filtering and searching. So there's all kinds of ways of accessing it. But usually what I do when I taught courses is I would pin the things I like the best. There's a little pin right there. So it's the first thing I see. Okay, skipping down a little bit below, something that's really important. I know for CUNY and all colleges and universities is Brightspace is very responsive. It's accessible. It follows the WCAG guidelines, things like that. So if you do have students that have disabilities or vision issues, stuff like that, Brightspace is very responsive. A demonstration of this would be if I grab this window, it's full screen, and we grab it over here. You'll see as I collapse it, just imagine that this is going from a regular size screen on your computer. I keep going, keep going, keep going. This is showcase. Oops, sorry, I'm dragging over here. You'll see that, imagine this is going to be a cell phone. So it's responsive, which means it responds to the environment that someone is viewing the application from. So when I go to like a cell phone mode, obviously you don't need all the huge navigation bar. It collapses into a vertical form. Also, as I said earlier, Brightspace is accessible friendly. So if you have JAWS or other screen reading technology that's in play, it can read all the components of Brightspace, content, things like that. So if someone needs to have extra help with the environment, they do have the capabilities of using those applications that help them access the environment. Okay, 2 more points, and then I'll take a pause and answer questions. When it comes to courses being available to your students, there's 2 ways a course will become available to them. First one is course is either active or inactive. By default, if it's a course that you're teaching and PeopleSoft, if you know what PeopleSoft is, or CUNY First, courses will come over as active, and also they may come over with start and end dates. So
I'm sorry, Chris, let me correct that. New courses come over inactive when the faculty first get it.
Okay, it's a setting, so yeah, thanks Natalie.
Yep.
So if a course is active and it's within the start date and end date window of a course, like teaching a term like fall or spring 2024, the student can see it. If it's not active and it's not within the date range, they won't see it. Faculty, they can see it no matter what. They can see past courses, they can see inactive courses, things like that. So this is how the courses are accessed based on availability. So now let's dive into an actual course and show you one more thing. So I'm going to choose this demonstration course here. And you'll notice when I do this, navigation bar is going to change. The widgets are going to change. So let's go ahead and click on it. And you'll notice right away that the navigation bar is a little different because there's 2 of each. So now it's course specific. For example, I want to create discussions, assignments, quizzes. And the design of the navigation bar is not going to match what I'm showing here. So it may be different for the college. You also notice that you have this homepage widgets. They're different now. You're going to notice that I, as an instructor, now have a couple special widgets that will really help me teach the class, because Brightspace, we're trying to save you time so you can actually teach and not have to figure out what's going on in the environment. So a good widget here, which I'll go ahead and jump to, is a quick eval widget. You'll see that I have 1 assignment to grade and 1 discussion to grade. If I access this widget at the college level, it'll show you all your courses in one spot. So if you have 5 courses, theoretically, I would see all 5 courses within this widget, and I can see all the activities the students have done in one spot. It will let me jump to that point in the course and grade them from that point forward. The one last thing in this section is, as students complete work, it tells them that they've completed their work. This is called completion tracking. So we do track when students complete stuff, whether it's looking at a web page, submitting an assignment, taking a quiz. It is tracked within your course, and you, the instructor, would know that they completed all the work. The student will know I completed part of the work, things like that. And all this information is available within the course for the faculty member to read. So I'm going to pause there. So this is kind of broad environment of Brightspace, and I will take any questions you have.
So, Chris, can you answer a question in the chat? I was typing it, but I think that it would be more helpful just to address it, which is in the nav bar, there are the labels, the links. Could you talk about what the difference between these are? So for example, what is the difference between content and assignments or quizzes? And what would be contained in these areas?
Best way to think about these 4 things, which is focus on these, Nathalie. These 3 assignments, discussions, quizzes are really activities that students typically complete for a grade. It doesn't have to be graded, but this would be, they want a quiz, test, exam, whatever. Or discussions, just like you had in Blackboard. Assignments will be purely assignment based, whereas they need to submit a paper or something that's observed in person. It varies, so it's purely an assignment. And we'll get to that a little bit more in a second when I show you the instructor view. The content, if I just click on it as an instructor, is really your organization within the course of presenting the information to the student. So let's think about the table of contents here. Remember completion tracking? Students, theoretically, in this unit, module, whatever you want to call them, it's up to you how they're named, would have 9 topics to complete. Web page, presentation, whatever it is. So the students always know how many things to expect within the course to complete. But the content is really your organization for the entire course. I would think of it as the central hub of accessing of the course material. Does that help?
It makes sense to me. I just want to make sure that there are no follow-up questions that I'm just seeing in the chat. If that was helpful. That's I think a good rundown. Thanks.
Please, Natalie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Chris.
Yeah.
Could you please detail Brightspace's session share screen, where the professor could share their screen with the students, and also the recording functions?
So Lloyd, we're going to go into that. That is available under where, if you look across the color bar at the top of the screen. So those are available here, and we'll take a look at those. So that
where is that? Where is that under more? Virtual classroom?
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah. So Lloyd, there's a variety of ways of doing what you're asking, whether it's through our native tools like virtual classroom. Virtual classroom is equivalent of like sharing your screen and having, like we're doing now, like Zoom, right? Video assignment would be a special assignment where it's all video based, where the instructor would give the assignment instructions in a video format. The student would reciprocate with their video. So think about a speech class. Students would record themselves and go that way. So this is like a special feature. It's video assignment. It's not, there's differences between, an assignment and a video assignment. It really depends on what you want to do when you instruct a course.
I have a question about the Collaborate Altera. Do we have the same feature here?
Talking about Blackboard Collaborate.
Yeah, Blackboard, you are able to use the Collaborate Altera to lecture. Do we have that option here? How does it work?
So the equivalent would be something like virtual classroom. There are other options. I don't know which third-party integrations your college has. Could be things like Zoom will come into play, or Usia and stuff like that. So I'm not sure exactly which integrations you have, but the equivalent for Brightspace to collaborate would be virtual classroom right here.
Right. So Blackboard Collaborate is not available in Brightspace. The native video or lecturing tool would be the virtual classroom, but you can also use Usia, Zoom, or Teams. Those are all tools that are available now in Blackboard, and they'll be available in Brightspace. So those will be available for you.
So for the Zoom, are you having a feature to schedule, instructor can schedule a time on the Brightspace, or instructor has to create their own Zoom account, then copy and paste it in the course announcement?
Yes, so you would create the sessions, the meetings in Zoom, and you could paste it as a link for your class. You could have this be reoccurring or individual. You could do the same with Teams, but Usia is also available in Brightspace. So those are the tools, those are the third-party video tools that are available. And as Chris mentioned, there is a native tool in Brightspace. It's called Bongo, or in that color bar that runs horizontally across the course homepage, you would find it under Virtual Classroom.
Do they indicate, do you have any short summary of the advantage of each one of these options?
You know what, we could talk, it really is what serves your particular teaching practice, how long your course is, how many students are in your course. And what we can do is, instead of talking about it right now, I'm happy to stay a little bit later and we can answer that question in detail. But I also want to point you to your really great, the AtoL team is the best group to consult, because they can go into the details of the course, how you were teaching it before, and offer suggestions on the best tool to use in Brightspace.
Natalie. Yeah, so please follow up with Natalie. I do want to make sure that I get to all these other key areas to show everyone some important things to note. So I know there's some questions in chat, Natalie, if you can help capture those and answer them later, I guess. So the next main section I want to get to is the instructor view, and this might answer some of the questions that everyone is asking. As you'll see in the agenda, I'm going to look at communication, content, assessment. I think this just came up a second ago. The grade book. So let's go ahead and tackle instructor view. So in this section, I'm going to just stay in the course that this instructor is enrolled in. And let's look at how you communicate with your students, because communication is going to be key for how you break down that barrier of, you're not face to face, right? You're online, you're in front of them in the screen, right? So communication is really important. So there's different ways you can communicate, and it really depends on which widgets are chosen. But normally, just like you have in Blackboard, you have something called announcements or news and Blackboard lingo. These can be created by you. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new one just to show you how it's done. And I want to show you something that's important throughout Brightspace. So I can create an announcement. And again, there's notifications. Remember the notifications. If a student has their notification turned on to receive an announcement, it will come up to their email or potentially to Pulse. But if I was creating an announcement, I would give the headline. And then you have this content box, which I want to talk about now. So when you look at this ribbon, which is called a ribbon, this is going to be found throughout Brightspace, whether it's in assignments, discussions, email, whatever. This ribbon will be really important to understand so you know the capabilities. So theoretically, I would just type a message. very, very basic, right? But you can spruce it up with all the typical things you might find in Word, like bold, italicized, underline, colors. You have indentation, all these things that are very common for everyone on this call. Then we move into some special areas, like we want to add images, we want to add links to something within the course, remember the content. Maybe I want to add something to, I want to say, sorry, it's horrible formatting. Please complete this discussion. So now it's a link to that piece of the course, and the student would potentially get their phone, they click on it, they're straight into the discussion, and they can do whatever they need to do. So when you look at the ribbon, this area here is kind of a special area that lets you do things beyond formatting. Like I said, image, links to things that's in the course. And then you have this special one here called insert stuff. This might be where you find third-party integrations, things like that. You want to add some video notes, all kinds of stuff will be found in here. And this list will vary depending on what is set up for the college. So you may have more stuff in here than I'm showing now. If you want to add a link to files that are in your course, you can do that, and so on. So this special area is something you need to learn about. For those of you that are math or chemistry type faculty, you have different types of LaTeX or MathML equation editors, all kinds of fancy stuff here. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, I guess. Then you have tables, you have all kinds of special ways of using emojis, font, size, and so on. Down here, you have an accessibility checker because Brightspace is accessible friendly, and you have some other options as well. So thing to remember, this ribbon, you'll find it throughout Brightspace. And then going back to announcements, there's a variety of things you can add. There's release conditions. I can add video, audio, dates, when this is available, and so on. But while I'm here, I want to talk about release conditions. Maybe in Blackboard's lingo, it's adaptive release. But if I wanted to say this announcement is going to show up to a student if they meet a release condition, or maybe it's a piece of content. Maybe this content doesn't show up to them unless they complete a quiz. Who knows? So theoretically, I can you can pre-create a quiz or an announcement and say, send them an announcement if they, sorry about that, there's a lot of them here. They complete a quiz. If they complete one attempt of this quiz, send them a new announcement and the student will see it. Or think about content, you can hide content, show content based on release conditions. So this is really powerful when you build a course. It's just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the course now. I'm not gonna save this, leave. And now let's look at the next bullet to dive in, which is email, which is really important. Obviously, email can happen in a variety of places inside of a course. I can go to the email tool here. You can send students an email from there. You can send email to students in the gradebook. You can send email to the students in the class progress, which I'll show you in a second. I can send email to students in the class list, which is the roster. I can send emails to students with intelligent agents, which we haven't talked about, which are basically ways to automate messaging to your students without actually sending them an email yourself. But if you're going to send an email, most of the time you're going to use the email tool here. And when you send an email, what's going to happen is the email is going to originate in Brightspace and it's going to go to the student's email address of record based on CUNY First and PeopleSoft. So if I'm going to email students, I can use the address book. I can type out the first 3 letters of the name, maybe. I don't know who's in this class. Someone's in here. I can type out the name. Typically, you might also do it to the class list. So let's go ahead and look at the class list. And there's the ribbon again. So this time I'm going to try to initiate email from the class list. Email. I can email the entire class if I want it once. I can BCC, CC, or carbon copy or blind carbon copy, things like that. I think, I don't know. The name will show up here. So maybe it's just a special row I have. I don't see this person. The email will starts in Brightspace. It goes to your student's email address of record. And from that point forward, you can email back and forth with the students as needed. So that's email. So we talked about announcements and email. Now let's move on to class progress, because something that your faculty want to do is monitor the course. And they want,
Chris,
yeah.
An attachment to the email. Did you cover the attachment to the email? If you want the student to send us something that is attached to the email,
you can attach a file, yes.
So Lloyd, are you wanting to send something or receive something as an
receive something.
So the email is composed in Brightspace, and from Brightspace, it goes to the student's email. When they reply back to that email, it comes to your email. And so it functions just like email. The difference is the feature in Brightspace, the email feature, lets you send it to all your class, one person in your class, 6 people in your class. And because you have access to the class list, that's really sort of the super sauce there, that you can send it to multiple people without having to search for their email. It's targeted to that class, if you know the learners within that class. But the back and forth afterwards functions just like email, and so they can attach something and you would receive it in your email, if that makes sense.
Nathalie,
Yes.
Nathalie, what is the size limit to the attachment that they send? Could they send me a 25 megabyte file?
So the answer, Lloyd, is depending on what the email restrictions are on your side. I don't know what those are with your email system. In Brightspace, I think we can set limits. I don't know off the top of my head what they are, Lloyd. You can do that. I mean, 25 megabytes is low.
I should ask the team on campus then.
Yeah, so it's kind of a 2-part answer, your side and then Brightspace side. We can take that away, Nathalie, and look at that.
Right, absolutely. So we can look at that. But if that was the way, you know, what I would say is if it's something for class and you're wanting them to submit an assignment or, you know, something that you're going to assess, it's easier, Lloyd, to have that go through Brightspace and have them submit it to Brightspace. And we can talk about that because then the other functions are available to you. You don't have to figure out how you're going to upload that submission you got from email back into the LMS. Does that make sense?
And
Okay.
in doing that, you can also send an email from Brightspace to the students with a link to the files in Brightspace.
Right.
And students as well can do the same with you using sending the mail through Brightspace. So I agree with Nathalie. There are a lot of
Excellent point,
advantages.
Evan.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
one more, if I could jump in, one more advantage to that, Lloyd, is sending emails with attachments through email. You always got to worry about malware and viruses. Whereas if you submit those attachments, if students submit the assignment via Brightspace, you don't have to worry about viruses and malware.
Nathalie, I have a follow-up question related to just what mentioned. Does the student has a cap on the Brightspace file? Do they have a file? If a student is taking some of online classes, do they have a file they can store some of the information, images, videos, and there is a cap on that? And are students aware of that they have to clean up their folder? Because I'm familiar with different technologies such as Canvas and others. So
Sure.
can you say something about?
Sure, absolutely. So what I would say, Chris, you know, maybe you can also hop in here if I get it wrong, but there is an upload cap. In other words, when you upload a file to Brightspace, is that it has a 2 gig upload maximum. So if that makes sense. Now, if it's a larger file than 2 gigs, it has to be broken into 2 so that there'll be 2 submissions versus 1. But I think that 2 gigs is hopefully, you know, depending on the coursework and what's needed. Chris, what would you add to that so that clean up my language so it sounds more techie?
I mean, I'll give a short answer, but then I'll keep going. Make sure we get through all of these topics here. If it's over 2 gigs, it's probably a video, right? Or it's really bloated PowerPoint show or something like that. I would, you know, always recommend that large videos or stuff like that is stored in some kind of streaming service like Uja or whatever it is.
But
Yeah.
my point is, does a student have a limit on their folder, their file? Do they have a cap? For example, they have a multiple documents from the previous courses. They want to store it then until they graduate. Do they have this option here or not? That's my point.
So
You're asking more like a media
yes.
library type of question or a locker type of question versus just a submission.
Let me give you a clear on this one. For example, on Canvas, a student have a folder and they can basically upload their document, their images, because on the discussion post, they probably want to post something here and there. So they have a cap on that. And if they post lots of images, videos in the folder, then it's going to be full. They have to clean up their file.
I
So
understand.
do we have that option here or no?
So Natalie, he's talking about a folio. So there are some portfolio type options which are under review at CUNY, which is the best route for using those, where a student can add files that will follow them throughout their career with Brightspace. Cap, there's not technically a cap. So that's what you're talking about, it sounds like.
Chris, I think that's accurate. Yeah. I know you have a lot to go through. I'll just ask, like, I know we have a ton of questions and we want to get to those questions, and I promise there'll be a Q&A after this. But for everyone, just to get a fuller look at Brightspace, I'm going to ask Chris to go ahead and go through the presentation, and then save your questions. We will answer them.
I do like the eagerness, I promise everyone. Good questions. I just want to make sure I show you some cool features of Brightspace. The next one here is class progress, which is a link on your navigation bar. This course only had one student, but think about it, you have a lot of students, and there's pagination options, so you can see a lot of students at once. So if I wanted to look at my students, normally they might have a profile picture, so you can see their face. You can put your face on there, all things like that. I can send them an email, instant message, which would pop up on the menu bar. But if I want to dive deeper into the students, I can see all kinds of information about the student by clicking on them. There also is, throughout Brightspace, many other areas where there are visualizations, analytics, quiz statistics, things like that. So Brightspace is not short on data and analytics if you want to look at that information. But if I was going to look at the students, I can see all kinds of information about what they're doing in the course, the grades they received, timestamps, feedback, all kinds of information. There is no feedback here, but they will see it. I remember I said completion tracking it's automatically tracked. I think it's super important. So if I have, look at the content, you're going to see a trail of what the student has done or not done. So if a student comes to you like, hey, why did you not give me a grade on something? Like, well, you never did it, right? So they never visited it. Maybe it's a quiz. So it's all tracked, right? The completion tracking. So there's all kinds of information about the students in the course, and you can dive deeper into the weeds if you really want to, or look at it at a bird's eye view. So this is called completion tracking. But the one thing I do want to go back, and there's a breadcrumb up here. You know what the breadcrumbs are. If I click on the breadcrumb, I do want to show you intelligent agents, which I highly recommend to help you teach your course. So right here, you can get to intelligent agents. You might also find them on the navigation bar right there, if you have it there. But when I click on it, it's going to bring up the agents that you have in a course. And these will copy from course to course. If you build them in the course A, you teach the same course again next year, they're going to copy. So you don't have to do it again. If I click on a new agent, remember those release conditions I was talking about earlier? You can have an agent that says, you have not, whatever, doesn't really matter what it is. So I can say this agent runs all the time, once a week, daily, monthly, hourly, whatever. So you kind of say, when does this agent run? And it's automated, right? And you say, okay, what is going to trigger something to happen? And I'll show you what that something is in a second. You say, this student has logged in for 7 days. Sure. Or they haven't done anything, done any activities in the last X amount of days. Or there's release conditions. Maybe you want to reward them for doing awesome on a final exam or something like that. Or I could create a release condition that says, if you get above an 80% or something like that, send them an email saying, thank you, you did awesome, keep up the good work. And it can auto-populate their name, all that stuff, so you don't have to type it out. It's all done behind the scenes and automated. So for example, if I said score a quiz, choose the quiz, you have the operators, right? Whatever it is, I'll go ahead and save this. If they get above 80% on this exam, whatever, what action does it take? It's going to send them an email. It's going to say, and there's special strings you put in there. So you need to look at these tooltips to understand how to type them out. You can send them an automated message 24/7 without actually doing anything. And they think it's from you, it's a personal message, because you can write it that way, where it's auto-populates first name, last name, whatever it may be. There's a bunch of different things you can do. So I do really highly encourage you to look at intelligent agents and using them in your course, because it's really going to extend your reach when you're kind of off hours on summer break or whatever you're doing, I guess. So that gets to the communication. And I want to keep going, Natalie, as you said. let's move on to kind of the content creation experience, because this is where you really will thrive and want to build out your course. So when you build your course, there are different ways of doing it. You can start from the bottom up. You can build your gradebook first. You can build your activities first. You can build your content first, which like, web pages, things like that. It's really your choice how you build things. Just listen to Jose. He'll tell you what to do, right, Jose?
Sure.
Sure. So if I'm building content, some people like to do it this way. They start in the content tool. I create my modules, whatever it is, how to type properly. Sorry about before. A module, then you just add things to the module. If you have files that are sitting on your desktop, you can drag and drop them if you really want to. If I want to create new stuff, I can create new stuff. You can see as I scan over these things. It lets you do lots of options, create survey, quiz, discussion, checklist, assignment, all kinds of stuff. If you want to repurpose things that are already in your course or work with a third-party integration, OneDrive, things like that, you'll see all these different options here. There's a bulk option here. You also have the ability to drag and drop. Like, ooh, this is in the wrong spot. Move it. I can actually I can nest sub-modules too, so I can do lots of dragging and dropping. Really nice. Well, let's say I want to create a new web page, because a lot of this things you'll build in a course will be web pages, PDFs, PowerPoints, things like that. You give it a name like a weekly checklist, whatever you want to do, right? You have the ribbon. But I want to show you something that's going to be really make your courses pop. Something that I'm pushing all the colleges to own and update are these HTML templates right here. These can be pre-created by the college, and it would have your logos, it would have custom HTML in them, whatever you want to do. And for those of you that are web design type people, it's basically JavaScript, CSS, and HTML already pre-made for you. So for example, I choose tabs. This image doesn't have to be here. I can delete it, sure. But these are kind of like pre-built fancy web pages for you. The logo for the college can be here, whatever you want. The design's up to the college. So let's pretend I'm an instructor and I want to use this. I delete what I don't like. I use what I like. It's all here. So let's say this is my content for tab 1, control paste, tab 2, hit save. Now I open it up and you're going to see that I have a dynamic web page that has custom features and fancy stuff in it. So it says tab 1, tab 2. So these HTML templates are really up to the vision of the college to design. And you'd work with the team, like the Craftmans and team there, to get them into the system. So you can build these as fancy as you want, but they're really nice to work with. Now, I know we're running out of time, so let me go ahead and jump to creating the activities here. I can create the activities from the content tool, as I was showing you a second ago, by going to the blue button. It says create new, create a new assignment, quiz, discussion, whatever it is. I can also do it up here. I'll do it from the content tool. It's the same experience, really. Let's say create a new assignment, and you're going to have the main content screen on the left. You can have custom features of assignment properties on the right. Again, the ribbon. You can say it's in the gradebook out of 50 points in the gradebook, not in the gradebook. Reset. You can give it a name, title. You can add video, audio, add attachments, all kinds of stuff down here. And then the properties of that assignment, and I'll go and expand all these options. You have a start date, due date, end date, release conditions. You can give certain users in the class or students special access to assignment where some students can see it, some can't. Some may get extra time to complete it, some don't. Maybe they have a funeral, I don't know. So there's all kinds of advanced features of assignments or discussions or quizzes, and they all vary. You can restrict the number of files they can upload, one unlimited, certain types of restrictions. They can only upload PDFs. Who knows? Do you want to get an email when they submit something? Sure. And then lastly, down here, evaluation and feedback. This is up to you and your personal preference, but I really push for the college to have rubrics. I also push to have shared rubrics where they're created at a high level within the college and they're shared down, which means you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. You can. I can create a new rubric if I want, and I can grade the students for this assignment based on that rubric. But if it's already built for me, I just need to tweak it to meet my needs in the course. So rubrics can be pre-built and added to Brightspace, and you just choose which one you want. So this is an assignment. I'm not going to save this. One last thing here, it's hidden. See this little toggle here, hidden, visible. So you can really regulate when do students see the assignment. It could be locked down, things like that. They can see it, can't submit to it. There's different options. So I know I have 2 minutes left. Natalie, let me show the grade book.
Grade book in 2 minutes. That's ambitious. I want to see this.
No, I can do it. Okay, so here's a grade book. When you work with the grade book will transfer a copy from course to course. So once you have the grade book just the way you want it, next time you teach a course, it's going to be there just the way you like it. When you look at the grade book, there's all kinds of ways of organizing the grade book. You can choose, what kind of, is it a points-based grade book? Is it a weighted grade book? Do I have custom formulas? Do I have a calculated final grade, which is a system machine graded, of all the assignments and discussions and quizzes? Or do I have an adjusted final grade, which means I will get a grade and then I can adjust it, I can tweak it, I'm curving it, right? And then you have a variety of other options, like drop all the feature items. If they haven't submitted something, should it count against their final grade? So there's a variety of configurations for you and the faculty to modify the gradebook. When grading from the gradebook, you see there's 4 different tabs. You'll see all the grades for the class. A lot of them are automatically entered based on when you grade something. It's a quiz, maybe it's automatically added to the gradebook. Assignment requires you to intervene and grade something. But maybe you don't teach this way, you have a different style. Maybe I like to grade like in a spreadsheet type view. I can grade this way. It's really your choice, and everyone's different in how you grade. You'll see all kinds of information about the students. I can look at the progress again. You can see their grade and so forth. So the gradebook is highly customizable to meet your needs. And I know every faculty member is different, but we really want to make sure you use the gradebook. It's going to do all the math for you. You just make the gradebook the way you want it. So I'll stop there. So I know we're out of time. So Natalie, I will pass it back to you.
Okay, I think I'm going to pass it back to Evan. See that pass off?
And I'm going to pass it back to Jose and just say thank you for the opportunity to be here. We hope this was beneficial. And this is a continuing and ongoing conversation. You have a fantastic support team who's right there with you along the way. We're here for you as well. I'm going to ask Jose and Provost Brown, this is your meeting, so I'll hand it to you for anything else there is.
I just want to add my appreciation for today's workshop. I think a lot of people's concerns and questions were addressed today, and I hope people are more excited about the launch of Brightspace and all of the new things that it can do. And again, I want to thank Jose and his team for doing all the backroom and front room work to make this go as smoothly as possible. So thanks. And thanks to all of you being here and taking the time to learn more and so that this will go smoothly, and you'll be a resource for our students as well as they adjust to a new learning management system. Thank you. So Jose, why don't you, since you organized the meeting, you get the last word.
It was like hot potato. We were passing it along.
Right.
I just want to give a shout out, a big thank you to Natalie and Evans for taking the time. We're 1 out of the 25, so I just really grateful for all the support that they've been doing for supporting us, and also for all those wonderful workshops. I can't say this enough. Just take advantage of the CUNY workshops that are available to you. Natalie mentioned it earlier. You can go to that website and register for those workshops. But the support doesn't stop there. We're here also to help. AtoL is here. Our website is available to you. Please come by, visit, say hi, or sign up for our Brightspace Basics course. And we're just here to help and make this transition as smooth as possible. And thank you for Provost Brown again, and everyone who attended. I really appreciate you all for coming by and joining us for this hour and a half. Thank you.